Welcome to Name Check. I'm Michael Riedel of the New York Post. Very delighted to have two very, very funny guys with me today. To those great American comedy teams, Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy, Romney and Ryan, we can add Key and Peele, Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, who have a hugely popular series on Comedy Central called Key and Peele. Gentlemen, welcome to Name Check.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, you guys are famous for your brilliant Barack Obama sketch, so I guess you must be happy since he's been returned to the White House for another 4 years. So it's just more material for you to keep pouring on, right?
Yeah, I think the material is the secondary bliss. We're happy about the outcome, but no, yeah, it's I mean, we got to meet him, so we did feel that that personal connection, and
Well, he's a fan of the sketches that you do about him.
Yes, and in fact, he's actually he told us when we met him. He said, "I want you guys to know that I'm a fan of the show, and that Michelle, he goes, not just the Obama sketch. I'm not a megalomaniac, He goes, he enjoys the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It is. Yeah.
And he goes, Michelle likes it, so the first lady likes it. It's all. That's all.
Now, what's so funny about this sketch, for people who've seen, is that you play Obama.
Yeah, I do.
But you kind of do like the inner voice of Obama.
Yeah, I'm
really?
Obama's like id. You know what I mean? So I played Luther, who's his anger translator, because we noticed, certainly in his first term, we thought we were seeing a lot of kind of abject disrespect shown toward a president we've never seen shown to a president that we can think of in recorded history. And we thought he can't. There's a double-edged sword here.
Right.
He's an angry black man if he speaks up, and he's ineffectual. Yeah, and he's ineffectual if he doesn't do anything at all.
And he's a Muslim.
And of course he's a Muslim. Everybody knows he's a Muslim. So the trifecta of doom.
Right.
So we figured, what can we do? So we figured if we could find a way to give him a surrogate. And what came to Jordan was he goes, remember when Chevy Chase used to do the thing where he'd say, Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still dead?
Yes.
And they did that one time on Weekend Update. Garrett Morris was down on the corner as the guy for the Deaf Association. And we were like, wait a minute, there's something there, there.
Like that concept of just reaching right through the screen and talking to the people. Normally I think we do slightly more subtle bits or esoteric, but this was like, let's just get in there.
Never go for the subtle one.
No,
Just
right.
go for the laugh.
Right,
You'll
yeah.
become famous. I have to ask you, because your Obama imitation is really, really great. And how do you do that? I mean, do you just watch tapes of the guy over and over again? How do you get the inflection, the cadence, all that?
It was that. It was 4 years ago. I just about watched everything like everybody did. And then, sort of adding a couple things. The trick that I do, it's basically Montel Williams minus Method Man. Is how you do an impression. So you got Method Man from Wu-Tang Clan, the Wu, and you got Montel. It's just he's doing his things. If you take that hoarseness out, then you got the president.
I always remember Rich Little. I am not.
Right. I did a prep to get into the mix.
But that's kind of it. You need that. You need to find that tick that they have.
That's right.
Exaggerated a little bit, and that is the kind of key.
Right.
Do you do imitation? I'm sorry, you were going to say, Jordan.
Yeah, the more little ticks, even the better.
Yeah. Do you do imitations too, or do you leave those to him?
I'm not an impressionist. Yeah, no, I leave it to him. He's very good
being
at
modest.
It.
We were on MADtv, so
yeah.
we basically they would throw an impression at us. We had to figure it out in a couple of weeks, but I'm not gonna, what we call in the industry, pimp him out on a impression right now. But he does have some of my favorite ones out there.
Do you do it to Carol Channing and Hello Dolly?
That's what it was.
I know, Ethel Bourbon and Gypsy.
Right, there it is, yeah. When we auditioned for MADtv, I remember I had to do impressions, and I literally, my wife said, so what are you going to do? And I said, well, I've got a really, really mean Antonio Vargas, and I do a fair to middling David Carradine as Kwa Chang Kane. These are real great. These are real up to date.
Let me ask you guys, the comedy influences on you. I mean, take me back, because we're probably roughly the same age, and we were talking before we began taping of one of my favorites, Flip Wilson.
Yeah.
Some of the really great old comedians that you grew up watching as a kid that made a big impression on you.
Well, I mean, for me, and certainly in my formative years and a little bit before that, there were cassettes, there were definitely albums and cassettes of Richard Pryor around my home, which my father would keep saying, don't listen to those. And I'm like, don't have them laying out, because I will find them and wear them out. When I first heard Pryor, even as a younger person, I think I didn't know how to describe it yet, but the pathos.
Yeah.
The pathos and the fact that he was an accomplished monologist, as much as a stand-up boom joke
And
guy.
a fabulous writer too.
Amazing writer. Oh, Blazing Saddles, and
Yeah.
he was unbelievable. He was such a talented guy. So he's always been a big influence on me, because not only is he a comedian, but he was an actor, and I'm a huge Peter Sellers fan.
Oh, the best.
Yeah. So that's always been kind of my thing. And as I've gotten older, and for me personally, I love all the stuff that Godfrey Cambridge did and Dick Gregory did. There was a and Flip. There was a dignity and a social relevance to what they were doing in their comedy that I think that we do.
Yeah. And for you, who were the big ones for you?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're talking about a time when comedians had dignity. I'm later than you guys. I'm later than you guys.
Younger,
Yeah.
prettier.
Well, I didn't want to put it into the word that it actually is, but yeah, no, I'm younger. My reference base is like Michael Winslow from Police Academy. That's my high end stuff. No, but Martin Lawrence is one of my favorites. Just my favorite thing about Martin was he played the lead African American character in his own show, and it was a multi-faceted character. It wasn't this. It was kind of this Ralph Cramden guy that you love to hate to love thing, and it fleshed out what I felt like I could portray someday on TV.
Yeah, not just a sketch comedian, but he's created a character that has a lot of subtlees
and nuance
to it.
Yeah. Which you weren't always seeing.
I was trying to remember this. I love to watch those old Dean Martin roasts.
Yes.
Remember those with Sammy Davis Jr.
Sammy Davis
and
Jr., yeah.
who was the? It comes out to me from my past. She was really popular, black comedian.
Mom's Maybelline.
Yeah, that's right.
Mom's Maybelline.
I haven't thought about her in years, but she was in one of these Dean Martin roasts that I was watching, in the middle of the night when they come on.
Right.
She's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant.
And she was another one that it wasn't riding the fence back in the day. It was just par for the course. But there'd be sometimes that strange sense of kind of coonery.
Yeah.
But she'd subvert it with all that wonderful social stuff.
Yeah. It's very interesting, those roasts, because it's basically a whole bunch of white guys with their black friend Sammy Davis Jr. and the great Foster Brooks, who used to do the drunk stuff. He was the drunk. It's totally politically incorrect now.
Yeah.
But Sammy Davis Jr. is sitting next to him, and he will get his name wrong. He'll call him Snippy and Snappy and Snoopy, and all these big white guys are laughing, but no one's laughing harder than Sammy. And I wonder, do you think Sammy was in on the joke, or do you think Sammy was offended and pretended not to be because this is the way it was back then?
I think so.
I love Sammy Davis Jr.
It's a great question.
That's a
great
really
question.
fantastic question.
And of course, there's so much stuff that he was had
The
to
butt
deal
of
with.
the joke, the butt of they were his friends, but
because Sammy is such a comic genius and such a talent. I mean, the way we think about our business is laughter and finding that joke is more important than anything.
Right.
So my suspicion is that he was a craftsman and he got the joke and wasn't offended by jokes. I'm sure it was the other stuff, the weird stuff backstage and in the real world that was strange for him to have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was definitely. There's no way he wasn't savvy.
Yeah.
There's no way he didn't understand. I've got to ride this fence. There was no such thing as a concept known as political correctness, and you're right. But you're right. I think when it all came down, when it all counted and mattered, it was Frank, right?
Yeah.
Frank went to the wedding.
Right. That's right.
Frank went to the wedding.
That's right.
Frank put his money where his mouth was.
Right.
But once again, it was easy for him to do that. He's like, I'm the chairman of the board. I'm going to do what I want, and you're still going to love me. Where if you're Sammy, I think he always tried to show his brilliance where he could, which was on the stage.
Right.
You couldn't deny the talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then I'll play the games. I'll play all the social games I have to play, the cultural games I have to play. But they couldn't deny his talent.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that one of the last things he did before he died, that great. There was a tribute to him at Carnegie Hall, I think, and Gregory Hines was out there.
Yeah.
And Gregory's doing a tap dance for him. And Sammy, who's dying of cancer, gets up, gets on stage, and they have a tap-off, right? And Greg does his bit, Sammy does his bit,
Yeah.
and then Sammy adds a little bit, and he just jumps in the air and clicks his heels together. And Greg can't do it. He falls down and kisses Sammy's feet. It's fabulous showbiz.
that's
To the
That's
end,
amazing.
they had
To the very
showbiz there
He said that was just
going through.
off the that was improvised. bit,
Totally
you know?
improvised.
And,
Totally
and,
improvised.
and, you know, and had been dancing since she was 3 years old.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So that was his entire life on the planet.
Yeah.
He was you're right. Jordan used the right word. He was a craftsman, and I think we forget that sometimes. Now, sometimes craftsmanship, or I should say, personality, gets mistaken for craftsmanship.
Oh, that's a very good point. Well,
Yeah.
you guys are writers too, and you know, as funny as it can be, a lot of thought goes into honing the joke, finding the right words. I mean, comedians tell me, you know, some words are just funny.
Some
Other
words
words
are
are not
funny.
funny. Some words are funny.
The gold medal will always go to chicken.
Yeah.
Chicken will always
Chicken
be a
word.
funny word.
I'm laughing already.
Yeah, chicken.
You know, and we try and layer our scenes so that you get things on different words. You get the word that sounds funny on that level working. You get this a satirical concept that you go, oh, I get it. But then you also, we want to pick a rhythm of a scene that can just make you laugh rhythmically. So that's kind of, we got these different channels we're trying to get comedy from.
Oh, I got to wrap this interview up, but you guys are the second season on
Yeah,
Comedy Central.
we're right.
How about Abbott and Costello did these great movies? Any chance of Key and Peele Meet the Mummy, something like that?
In the works.
Meet the Mummy. That's we could pitch to those guys. We could take over the Abbott Costello
You're saying,
franchise.
Universal should give us their library, and we'll
But
update them.
there are talks of a Key and Peele movie in the works in the
excellent.
early stages. Yes.
Terrific. All right. Well, the show is called Key and Peele on Comedy Central. You guys have just been appearing here at the Comedy Festival, I think. In New
Right,
York,
yes,
right?
that's right.
All right. Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, thanks a lot for being my guests
Thank you,
tonight
Michael.
on Name Check. Oop, I got to go to this camera. There we go. So long.